Yeah, I don't know if he's downstairs waiting or have him come up here. I'll go take a look. That's my goal. 5 to 8 minutes every week.
Sometimes it's hot.
He's not here yet. John's not here yet.
He's gonna pull in the parking lot right now.
Okay. Does he want us to meet him down there?
I told him we'd meet him down, I told him we're down to the basement, we'll meet him downstairs.
Okay. We need to wait for Betty to. Yeah. Oh, here comes John. Yeah.
So in at 7:04, so he knows how many time they started.
Yeah, if you want to start them now.
They were really,
Okay, we're gonna start moving downstairs. We'll start in the basement.
Gosh, I used to have cable TV down in middle school, they were allowed to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes basically the same amount. For renovation.
What do you mean?
That's what it costs.
Yeah, he had a
And what it costs to renovate down below.
What two companies are you?
Well, this isn't the same company we went through. This company did the feasibility study. This architect, this is the one we went through. It's doing now. It's doing it now.
Yeah,
Is it?
no.
Okay.
Renovate.
Again, tonight, the purpose of this tour was for everyone to see what we have here at this building. Our next meeting will be November 30th, and at that point, we will do a larger presentation. We will give you some, of the, all right, Ms. Kirsch.
I'm sorry.
You're causing some issues.
Okay, I feel like I'm right back at
Please
home.
sit. There you go.
Okay.
So we will be going over the financials, the most recent architect drawings that we have, and then addressing any questions. So we do have a flyer that I shared with all board members. So if you're okay with that flyer, then I will go ahead and send that out to the community that shows them that.
I'm gonna, the flyer on the
Email.
email dates and times, I'm not happy with that because it doesn't suit my schedule, and I know it doesn't suit a lot of the public's schedule. I don't know about anybody else's. I'm gonna voice my opinion again. I think these meetings should be held later in the evenings after everybody gets off of work. I know you came from work.
We can, with the next meeting, we are doing at 6:30.
Yeah.
That was the request.
For this.
For the 30th, for this.
Yeah, that was in our
Okay.
email.
Well, I think every one of them should be at 6 or 6:30.
Yeah, we can't even, I mean, that's fine.
Any other?
Are they still sending a letter out, or is that what you're talking about?
That's what we're talking about, yeah.
So this is a flyer. We're gonna have printed and taken from you.
I mean, what's the flyer's purpose?
Purpose is
To
to
inform the
everyone.
public,
That is gonna inform everybody about the whole
It's
project.
gonna inform them the meeting to come, if they wanna come to the
So
meeting.
you're not
It's
sending a
gonna-
letter out that says
it's gonna-
everything about the
No.
project?
No.
Why not?
How would we do
Why?
that? How would we do that?
Put down.
Come to the meeting and learn
First,
that.
why don't you
They're not
read,
gonna
why
come
don't
to
you
the
read
meeting.
what's
They're
on
not
there
gonna
first?
come to the meeting. They said there was gonna be a letter out that said what the project's gonna cost.
Did you read that yet?
estimate.
Did you read
Right, I'm not done yet.
that? It says it on there.
And they're not gonna come to me, they wanna sit and read the entire thing at home, what it's gonna cost, what the agenda
No, they're
is,
not.
what the taxes are gonna be, what it's gonna be over the long run, how you're gonna pay for it, like,
We'll have
If
that
you-
at the meeting.
If you have
free beer and pizza, you wouldn't be able to get people to come to the meeting. And we've tried, believe me, everything.
You know what?
If it's important, they'll be there. If it's important to them, they'll be there.
Yeah,
You know what,
sure.
if I could just say one thing, before we did the renovation down in middle school, the big project down there, Tribune Democrat had headlines that day, Northern Cambria to raise taxes. Now, you thought we'd have packed the auditorium down at the middle school. There were 33 people there. Jim, I think you were there for that. Tom, you were there.
Yeah.
33 people. And I think out of the 33, 28 people were in favor of raising the taxes. Somebody on the school board did their homework. They went around to every board member and said, based on your income, this is how much your tax is going to go up
Roland
per
did
year.
that.
Roland, was that you?
No, Roland did it for us this
Oh,
year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the most
We're gonna
expensive.
do that at the
The most
30th,
expensive
November
increase
30th.
of the board members was $61.
And that will be at,
That's the highest.
and that will be at,
That's the top of the-
6:30.
If I can finish,
I'm sorry.
I'm tired of hearing people say for 40 years, we're not raising taxes. When you don't raise taxes, this is what we have in our town.
Yes.
And then you start getting our people saying, going to other schools, why can't we have something nice like this? We all live in this town right here. I don't know about the rest of you people. I'm tired of it. And I know money is short. I know money is short.
And I'm gonna say this, if you think that our enrollment's not gonna go down, Mr. Rocco, if I had a choice between sending my kids to Central Cambria Heights or Central Cambria or Northern, why would I pick Northern? And listen,
And this is going to make it worse.
I
That's
know,
my
it
point.
absolutely
This is
not.
going to make it worse.
no, it is, how is it gonna make it worse?
Because now
You're
you're
downsizing.
downsizing to practically, wait, let me finish. You're downsizing, I'm not gonna get into the, I counted rooms, okay, you're gonna do that next meeting, okay, we're gonna be here about 5 hours next time, because I got a million questions once you actually have information for me, okay? Because it's gonna make it worse. We're going from an actual high school with our own gym and our own auditorium and our own cafeteria and our own office, and as beautiful as a classroom section as we want to build, as you want to build over there. We can go the most beautiful classroom section. We can tear down what we don't like. We can rearrange the rooms however we want, okay? We don't have to keep the art room. It's way too small. We can move it over here we obviously have rooms here that we don't need. We can move things around. We can redesign the whole building and not tear the building down. We can do all Mr. Messina's infrastructure improvements. What I want to know, and boy, this guy better have it next time, I want to know how much a major redo here would cost, and not in some exaggerated, overblown, we need an elevator in every section of the building garbage. The minimum we need to do to make the building as it needs to be and it look as nice as this thing you want to build over there, which of course it should be, but it will have a gym and an auditorium and a cafeteria and its own office.
So you would like
That's
us
my
to
whole
pay,
thing.
pay the additional architect fee to get that?
100%, you just said, we want to raise our taxes to make ourselves have, my whole thing on this from day one has been, don't underbuild it. I don't care about raising the taxes, I think you're right, we need to do that. I'm saying don't underbuild it. Do I think our population's gonna go down? To an extent, but it's not gonna bottom out, it's not gonna be Blacklick, okay? It's probably not even gonna be Penn's Manor, because we have towns, and they don't, okay? So I'm leery when people use a graph, because if you follow the graph to its endpoint, we're gonna have any people here in 50 years, so why should we even build a school? So there is a bottom out, and it's clearly a guesstimate by the engineer or whoever's doing it, and I just think, honest to God, I think that the whole idea of redoing this building was glossed over to build a new one, and I have nothing against that. I'm just saying, attach it to the cafeteria and the auditorium. Okay? I don't see how that is a change. What it does is it gives us an extra gym, an extra auditorium. Again, I have a million questions. Has anyone actually talked to the athletic directors and says, will 2 gyms work?
No.
Because I've talked to the athletic directors and they said, there's no way 2 gyms will work. We just built the 3rd gym because it was so difficult making 2 gyms work.
We've had this conversation, but we have talked to them, and we are all in agreement, 2 gyms are not gonna work.
We have plans.
Yeah.
We have plans.
What's the plan?
We
Please
talked about
inform
that
me.
next week.
Huh?
We talked about keeping this. It's not financially,
It is if you put the school up here, but what's the
Okay.
plan beyond that?
we can talk about putting up what Nooktown Catholic School has and just have that as a practice gym.
Well, then the amount of money you're telling us here isn't the amount of money, because now you're gonna build something
That's
else.
down the road, and we're looking at different options to get money. That whole track was what, a donation? Did they raise funds?
Probably half of it, not
Okay,
the
so,
whole thing.
okay, well, whatever, half. Listen, there are so many ways to get involved that we can get extra money. If there are other people in the community that are willing to get involved and help out.
So, and again, I guess my bottom line is, why would you think about trying to get a third gym by building a new one? All you have to do is move your addition up here. I'll say it a million times, and I'll
That
say it a
building is
million times
more.
at the next meeting. What's the difference? What's the difference?
$20 million.
$20 million.
Of what?
A lot.
My question.
$20 million is the difference. $20 million to renovate and consolidate, $40 million to keep two buildings. The difference is $20 million.
Don't tell me, I don't wanna hear about keeping two buildings. I wanna know, renovate the high school.
Renovate the high school, $20 million.
I'm gonna say something here.
ahead.
Okay. If
No, I'm gonna say something first. Can we all put our attitudes in check here tonight?
Right.
All of us.
Okay, in September 12th, 2018, we had a feasibility study. Okay, and if people would have came to the meeting, they would have known that. Okay, now this is the estimated for bringing the high school remodeling, bringing it up to standard by this company, not by the architects we have now. Okay, 18 to 20 million to bring this up to code and to renovate it. So
And that was 4 years old.
yes, it was 2018.
Anyway, go ahead.
So we did have a study on.
Okay.
So it's not, and they list what we think we need. They didn't say about the boiler, because they said the boiler was okay, but there's parts to it that we're not gonna be able to get. That was all taken in, and that's what I'm saying. So it wasn't there, these guys threw it out. I don't know what they have yet, because I didn't see theirs yet. I mean, I haven't gotten it, nobody's given it to me. Apparently you have to be at a meeting to get it, but, that was theirs, okay? And then then they went on to say, when we have, what needs to be done at the elementary middle school to bring it up, since we're doing it, is another 17 million. So you put all that together, then, but I still don't think moving down there should be 22 to 30 million or whatever. I think that's way too much. I think we can
Well,
maybe
if you
do
think you're
something.
gonna do it for less, that really scares me.
Well,
because
now,
you're building-
now we are probably going to do it that because we waited all these, so many years when it was first brought up. If we would have done it, we'd have got it, the cost of material and that would have been up. We keep waiting, and we're going to be in trouble. So but to say that we didn't have that's all I'm saying. We did have it. We did have a feasibility study, and that's what this other architect come up with.
Who was the architect?
VEBTH, whatever you guys got them, I don't know. Yeah, you guys got them, I didn't get them. Yeah, that's what they gave us. And then they showed us, they actually gave designs of what could be done. You know, like adding on the back of the gym back there for
And
seating.
that came to 18 to 20 million for this building, you're saying?
No, that's just to renovate this building.
That's what I mean, that was just to renovate this building.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess that would have been the thing to do. Why did we do that?
Because that doesn't address the issues in the middle school.
Huh?
That's only one project. That doesn't address the issues at the elementary middle school.
Middle school.
That
That was 17.
There's money that has to be spent there.
Renovated.
Well, I don't know, this is another company, different company.
What needs done at the middle school?
Well, I'll tell you what they have.
Now, without us building the school there, because that affects what's gonna need done at the middle school,
Right.
that's the problem.
Right.
You gotta separate those things.
Well, they are separated. They have what you have to do at the high school here, and then what needs to be
But
done.
what is the problem at the middle school?
Well, I'll tell you what.
There's a litany of items. There's an entire report on the things that need to be done at the middle school.
Where do I get,
There's another report of the things that need to be done at the high school.
where do I get that thing that,
Request, I will get you a copy of it.
I wanna
You
get,
can
I'd
come
like
to
to
my
get
office on Monday,
Well, I know-
and I will have a
I know
copy.
part of it was the bathrooms aren't ADA accessible.
Well, according to this,
So all the bathrooms are gonna have to be redone
Over there.
over there. I know one thing that just came up recently.
Well, back to this, they have architect interior.
But we don't, not if we don't renovate it.
They have the
So do you
exterior.
hear what you're saying? Do you hear what you're
We
saying?
don't renovate the middle school at
It
all.
doesn't have to be accessible.
No, it is accessible.
It's
There's
not up to
handicap bathrooms
It's not up to
in
code.
that,
It is,
don't.
it is
tell me,
not
because
accessible.
I know they're there.
I'm sorry, sir, you're wrong.
Aren't, but there are handicap accessible bathrooms available
Okay.
to handicapped kids. There are. There's,
They don't meet the current codes.
but,
They do not meet the current codes.
They're not up to current code.
They aren't.
but we're not changing them.
Once you start remodeling, then you have to change them.
I know that, but what I'm saying is.
Let's just stick with it is, and we'll be unaccessible, not up to code,
It
and that's gonna
is-
be fine.
And then as soon as we get a
Accessible.
student, we'll have to then expend the money.
No,
I
it
don't know
doesn't work
what's-
like that. Once the school's there, it's there. And the accessibility is, you deal with the accessibility that is available in the school until you renovate.
Once you
We
renovate.
renovated that building in one year.
I know, but
We
that's
renovated.
dependent on cost.
2006,
We
16
put-
years ago,
2006.
16 years ago.
We put huge
That's not a long
handicap, there's handicap bathrooms down there, you're saying, how much bigger do they need to be? Like,
A
I've
lot.
been there for years, so I know they're there, I've been in them 100 times. They're handicap accessible bathrooms, they're
No,
single
they're not.
units where you
No,
go,
they're not.
you're the only one in there. You're saying those
They're
are all
not.
legal now?
They're not legal. Not one bathroom.
I would like to see the reasons that they're not legal,
Policy art.
like you did the.
It's the code. The code's accessible, the code's available to anybody that wants to look it up. I can show it to you. I can come and meet with you personally and show you the code.
The cop out.
There's no way you're thinking.
Well, I don't know, we put handicap bathrooms in and now handicap bathrooms aren't handicap accessible. So did the code change again?
Well, a long time
Yes.
ago, we didn't use car seats either.
16 years ago.
Not
But-
16 years
But the
ago.
car seats in 16 years have changed tremendously.
Yes.
And that's the thing, we can't say our school is accessible as you.
It's not.
It's accessible to a point and you've got to deal with that. That's just not,
Well,
how it
seems
goes.
to me like, so that's the whole thing here?
no, absolutely
No,
not.
I said that's
No.
one
Why
part.
are we hung up on that?
Mr. Rocco,
No,
I
no.
said that was one part.
I guess one of the questions that should be addressed is, and it has been addressed, is do you need two buildings? Do you need 160,000 square feet at a middle elementary school and 90,000 square feet at a high
In
school?
my opinion.
And that question has been asked and answered, and the answer has been no, resoundingly.
No.
High school kids should not be anywhere near elementary school kids. And
So if I.
very, almost every school in the area is separate completely. Penn Standard, I called Penn Standard.
Blacklick's
And
7
Penn Standard said they have their own gym, their own building, their own
Richland is
office,
7
they
through
don't
12.
even come near each
And the
other.
same thing's
Richland
gonna
is
happen
7
down
through
there.
12.
Oh, yeah, except, well,
Except what?
now they say
No,
they're
you're
having
wrong.
a gym, but the gym never came up.
100% wrong.
Let me,
So,
it's
so,
gonna be a locked door ain't gonna do it. It's gotta be separate.
Well,
so, so what are we talking about? The option here we're talking about is the option on the table is to renovate the high school at $20 million and have a renovated building for 4 grades in the district, or renovate the elementary middle school to be a K-12 building for $22 million and have all the students in the district in a nice renovated building.
So my question is, can you guarantee me this is a $22 million project?
That's what the estimate calls it to be. There are no guarantees in life, sir.
It's a $22 million project.
The estimate says $22 million.
$22 million project.
You
But I
figure,
find
Oh, okay.
it didn't matter that needed to be done, it's just one of the 2 buildings.
see, I'll tell you what, I wanna see what their plan is, because when this architect did it, this is all the high school here. Then the elementary, middle school's over here, so they'd be separated. But I don't know what these plans are, we'd have to wait till.
We could keep on talking like this
Yeah.
all night.
But it
So-
doesn't matter, because it's already voted.
Like, do we want to just move forward to the next meeting? So
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Rocco
Okay, we'll go to the next meeting.
wants some additional information.
Sure, great.
And you can work on getting on that.
Have it formed.
And then Hank will be at our next meeting in November, correct, Hank?
Yes.
Hank, I'd like to get a copy of what your diagrams are myself.
I might have doubles. They've been available at every meeting.
Well.
And they are available to anybody who asks for them. My concern with all of this, and I enjoy the conversation, and I love this building, But I am really annoyed with the fact that people think that anybody's hiding anything from anybody, because that is not the case.
Oh,
And I
don't
respect
think
your
that's
opinion
true.
very greatly. And I also feel like there are board members who are acting like they've been kept from the process, and that has not been the case either. Anyone is welcome to come, anyone is welcome to call each other, ask for materials. We've been doing this for a long time, and nothing has been, behind a curtain.
We had
At all.
we had an article in the Tribune Democrat,
And it doesn't help our relations to have any of that conjured
no,
up
it
or
should be transparent.
happening.
And we're trying to make it transparent. I don't think they'll read a dissertation of our plans, but
Oh, I don't think a
I-
dissertation, I think it's just
I mean,
finances primarily.
I think we could get succinct stuff out there. We have the links, we can make it open to the public. If they can sit there and click on a link, they can watch it.
Are the plans that are on the website still current?
No.
No, they're not anymore.
Okay, then I probably,
November
Then you
30th.
better take them off
These are the
there.
most current ones.
Right here.
Are the new ones
It was
gonna be on?
big ones.
We will
That's
present them
the
at
meeting
November
that I
30th.
had, I was
So
late at
now-
work that
Again,
day.
we will, let me finish.
We have a timeline.
I've given you time to finish, so now you need to give me time to finish.
Good.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It makes
You
it harder
get
to
stuff.
deal with this.
Yeah.
It makes it so much harder.
So, therefore, we will present at the 30th, and then we will post everything on the website.
All right.
As my last comment, I really still think, and this is the biggest problem I see here, that you people are already convinced. I don't think you entered this with an open mind. I don't think you've gotten information from anybody except people that want to do that down there. That's my biggest issue. I know you think you've been at this a long time, but I tend to disagree with that because a long time is 3 or 4 years, and most of you haven't even been on the board that long.
We've been doing that for more than.
Not you.
We've been doing that
Yeah.
for more than 3 or 4 years.
Well, that goes
And it
back to
never
the old,
happened.
to the old version.
And it didn't
Yeah,
happen,
going back to
and
the
then there
old.
was no financial
Exactly.
plans made, no taxes were raised
There were no-
way back when everybody was working on it,
And
and
Jim,
now
we're-
it's gonna hit everybody, and it's not like, we've talked about raising the taxes, it's not excessive.
Yeah.
But none of this that's been going on for all these years came into started preparing for any of this now either.
I'll say for
So-
40 years, our school boards mainly have been fiscally irresponsible.
Right?
100%.
I agree with you.
100%.
I agree with you.
They never raised
My dad
taxes.
was on there for years, and I still agree with you
This is
100%.
why
Same here, I agree with you 100%. Should've been
Because
done when
people
we
are
did it.
afraid to
Should've
tell
taken
people the
care of this
taxes need to
building.
go up.
And raise the taxes and take care of this building for
Yep.
years, and then we wouldn't be here.
Yep.
Right.
Not be here.
Correct.
And if other school boards had made better decisions, we wouldn't be here.
Correct.
Right.
And I guess I'm just trying to make sure you make the right, whether you like to hear that or not.
You know, and I-
That's my goal.
And I think it's,
But your right one might not be our right one.
exactly. I think everybody's here trying to
What
do
time
a
is it?
bad job, Mr. Rocco.
I
No,
got
and I'm not here trying to do a bad job either. You know, it's like,
Do you have a copy
like the Godfather.
I wanna make sure it's the
not
right
personal,
copy.
It's just business, like I wanna
Is
make
it the
sure
same?
the
Because I'm
best
happy
job
to-
is done for this building, for this school district.
5322.
I don't wanna be the
Do
person
you
who
mind,
says, don't
can I-
move to Northern Cambria, just go to
I
Penn
just have
State,
one.
it's way better.
But-
And that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Okay.
But that's her copy. Oh.
No, I don't care.
No, I'll make more
We're
copies.
good.
If anybody wants one tonight, do you want me to
I'll take.
surrender
Yeah.
mine?
Well, I can't stay in there right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get things.
'Cause that's, yeah, I don't want you to be without your copy, so.
Well, I mean, if somebody wants to look at it until I get another one, I probably am not gonna pore over it anytime soon.
Well, we still have some adjustments.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I was
and
kinda
these
getting at too.
plans have not been finalized
Right.
either, like,
And that's why I'm
whatever
not
you're out there,
comfortable
you're
with-
not. They're still like
Perfect, yeah.
talks in progress.
We're still adjusting and changing things and trying to cut some things.
I have one comment. With the gym factor, if we are forced to fundraise to build an additional gym, then we're not doing things right. I was part of building Midtown Gym. I know what it costs. I contributed, and I'm on the board there. I know what's involved. It's a lot more than you think.
The track
Do it
only costs
right.
400,000, the gym blows that out of the water.
Do it right the first time because it is not cheap, especially if it's an independent standing building. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm involved with a lot of it there, and there's a lot of factors, and there's a lot to running it, and there's a lot of expense that you just don't even think about because it's standing alone.
We don't have a foundation, do we?
Hank, how come we can't put splitters in that part over there?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the question. What's
How
that?
come we cannot put splitters in that part over there? And
When you
keep
say splitters, what do you mean?
Splits,
splits,
those
they're
little
splits,
electrical
they-
heaters.
Heat
You know,
AC.
the air conditioning and heating.
When you say over there, were you talking about the high school?
Yeah, I'm talking about the gym.
The gyms.
The gym and
Well,
the,
you can't use a split unit on something the size of a gym. They're for small rooms. They're not for gym size spaces. But
You
there
can
are
put
estimates in
like
there
four in there?
from Pyramid Engineering that gave you the exact way and cost to heat and cool that existing gym on a standalone system with a rooftop unit.
I'm sorry, can you repeat
I
that?
can't see why you can't do that. I don't know.
There's a difference between a mini split and a DX. When you say mini splits is what you find in a
Right,
small
right,
room with that
right.
little unit there.
Right.
You have to go a full DX unit for a gym. It's not just this small unit.
Okay, but what, I mean, that's.
It's not a whole new boiler and furnace.
Right, right,
Right.
right. It's not a whole, it'd be.
Well, you wouldn't be able to heat it with a boiler or furnace. If you went to a rooftop unit, you would have to go to electric.
Right.
And Pyramid Engineering has given you an estimate for putting a rooftop unit on the gym to heat and cool with electricity.
I didn't get that, so.
That was part of the 5.2
I know,
million.
yeah, I know, you said, it was at the meeting, I know.
But if she's talking about knowing we're not gonna be able to do 2 gyms, like, we have one there, you just find a way to keep,
We need to make it work somehow.
find a way to make it
I
work.
don't think that we should go into this project thinking that, oh, we're gonna build a gym down the road. Down the road, that's what happened here down the road.
That's exactly what
Do
happened.
it right.
That's exactly what happened here.
I agree.
If we, once the door's closed and the payment's paid and, oh, we'll do this in 10 years, all of us may be on our way and it never gets done and it won't be efficient and it won't accommodate the kids.
Could we, and this is just a thought, could we check into, we know what it would cost to keep the gymnasium up here. If we kept the gymnasium up here and did what we needed with on the roof, and did not have to blow out that back wall at the elementary middle school to
What's the
move
savings
that,
there?
what would the difference be?
I think Hank did that for us once.
I did. I'm sorry. I'm not in the office to look that up, but I did that and I can provide it again.
Okay,
It's out there.
then,
I
do
thought
we
it was
have,
$7 million.
I'm just hearing this now for the first time, and it may be because I've missed meetings, about putting a whole new structure up for a gymnasium. Do we have
It was just
That's
conversation.
that was
that's
just conversation,
That's just a conversation, that's nothing,
so we don't have a plan for a third gym?
I have a plan.
Oh.
I have a plan, but, it's renting a gym. I have option to consolidate high school and elementary middle schools and convert a section of high school to an athletic performing arts center. So that means we would just keep the gym, the auditorium, keep that section. So converting that to the high school, converting portion of existing high school, just that, is 4.5 million without the 20% soft cost. Adding the existing addition down there is 8.3 million without the soft costs. If
Without
we
the- what are you
renovate,
saying there? What's that?
8.3 million.
No, but that, then you said without the.
Soft
costs.
What do you
You're
mean by that?
overrun.
That's it.
You're overrun.
Oh, okay,
Overrun,
just the
you
overrun.
have to pay.
Okay, got
Okay, so that's 8.3 million. It's $25 million, 25.5 to renovate the existing elementary middle school. So, if we keep this building up here, as he said, it would cost 25.5 to do down there, and 20 million up here to keep, so we have both buildings, we renovate so that we keep the high school up here, we keep everything, so that's 45 million. If we renovate down there, put the 8.3 addition on, then we're only talking 33 instead of 40. So if we're talking, this was before we made our cuts. So it's an $8 million, about a $7-8 million difference. If we keep this whole campus, renovate this campus, keep everything, you're gonna have to do all the infrastructure and do what we need to down there. It's gonna be an additional about $7 million.
So if you do that down there, has anybody come up with a figure of how much a district would save with having nothing up here?
Yes, I don't know how much, and we'll present that at the 30th, on November 30th. Because we don't have two campuses to maintain. We can share teachers, so that also means I don't have, so we can share teachers. We can share services. We don't have to maintain parking lots, we don't have to maintain both buildings. It's an upkeep, so there's not only the cost of the building, there's also the cost of maintaining as well. That would be a reduction. So, yeah, sure, we could keep both buildings.
I didn't even mention parking, there's 120 parking spaces here between the student parking lot and the teacher parking lot. And the student parking lot's full every day, and the teacher parking lot's probably 4/5 full every day. Where are you gonna find 120 parking places down there? Because when you go to middle school right now, during the day, the parking lots are full.
Well,
And now you're
actually,
gonna expand by putting on an addition, and you're gonna need 120 more spots.
the architect actually drew that up, an additional, he thought of that, actually.
That's already
I
designed and
don't know
fit.
where it's gonna go.
Well, he found a spot for it.
Okay.
He did consider parking.
Notice the way that softball field down. The one they just rented, they supposedly.
Then we lose a football field. Now we're short on practice field.
I was going back to softball field. Girls.
No, not the football field, the little softball field.
The one outside Mr. Rank's office, or Mr. Rank's classrooms, that
You
would
have
be
something
the
to
part
say,
that-
Mr. Freebuy?
I do,
Really?
I do. I don't, it's just not me. I go other places, people say, what the hell happened to that softball field?
We at least could play.
I'm not a contractor at all.
This isn't about the softball.
No, not at all.
Keep
No,
your comments to yourself.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I don't need you to.
So why don't we end here tonight? And on the 30th, then, we will have a meeting at 6 o'clock, 6:30. I'll send out the flyer. I'll have Damon print those up, send them out to everyone. And then we will have our meeting there. We will have a presentation by Hank. By that point, we should have, again, I've talked to the principals. We have a few other things that we're looking at reducing after we've talked to the teachers. And so we're doing some finalizing, moving around. And so we'll present what we have at that point. Again, that doesn't have to be set in stone, but it will probably be the closest version of what we have. We'll then put out, again, I'll have the list of what it will cost if we want to do both buildings. We'll revisit all of that, so all the public can see what it would cost. And we'll look at the money, how we end up funding this.
When you do the mailing, we're talking mass mailing, exactly who all is that going out to?
Taxpayers.
All taxpayers and
I think we need to set our budget around 20 million and leave it there. See what we can get for it.
And I don't know whether we just want to do taxpayers, because you never know, somebody who may be renting 2 months down the road may become a taxpayer.
How do I get those names? I have
Mass
names.
mailing, just like you go to the post office, just like they do with Giant Eagle and
bulk
Buy
mail.
Low.
Bulk mail.
Bulk mail.
Bulk mail, I can
Yes.
see that. Okay.
I would check into that.
Okay.
Because then you're going to cover, I think, everybody.
So if we were pressed and had to decide on this, would we be able to get away with, I'm looking at like renovate the existing high school, and it's part of one of these options. Is there no way that we can get away with the middle school as it is?
You'll have to do something to it eventually.
Right.
So either we do it now, or down the road we do it again.
And I'm not trying to be argumentative, I'm just trying to know that I've thought of everything and know everything before when I built my house, I wish I could build another house because I learned things when I built that house that I don't want to repeat. So as I'm doing this is so much bigger and has so much more of an effect on everyone.
If we had the same number of kids and our population wasn't changing, then I think it would be wise. But also with the population drop, you
Yeah.
know, we are getting, the predicted population drop that PPE does has been pretty close, spot on. Talk to any of the superintendents in the area, it's pretty much been what's been happening for years. And we're gonna be close to Blacklick pretty soon,
What do they predict it's gonna bottom out at?
about 689.
I'm trying to do that by grade level.
But
I have
but
it.
the sad thing is, I just saw, and I think I saved it onto my phone,
Hopefully that
Northern
will
Cambria has dropped extremely compared to the other
compare to other
districts.
districts.
We've just,
Well, you see Purchase Line. I mean, they went from a really decent sized school to practically nothing, and they did that in 3 or 4 years. Like, they went from AAA to single A virtually overnight.
That's actually what
Here
we
you
were
go.
looking at.
I just pulled this off of PSBA, and we,
For the sake of letting, you know,
Oh, across Pennsylvania, I agree with
And
that,
that's
yes, I understand. I think you do that, all through district around this, that's what it's a big graph.
did you say?
Yeah, I think everything, maybe, I think.
and the idea of,
Everybody is dropping.
Yeah.
Everybody is dropping. There is no question.
and so the idea that never occurred to me, but Mr. Rocco brought up a few weeks ago, which was interesting to me, is, so if we're gonna build an addition on the elementary middle school to accommodate high school students, what would prevent us from having that scenario where we build an addition up here, new for high school students, that was more the size of what we needed, and not do it down there and maintain the gym?
The cost.
And that would be because we have so much demolition to do here before we ever put on a
Not only
new
because of
piece?
demolition, because then you're looking at renovating not only this building, but renovating what we need down there. New construction is always easier and cheaper, because now you have to renovate, you have to pull out all of the old and then put in all the new. So there is always going to be more cost to that. I mean, hey, I would love more than anything, in my big dreams, I think we should make this an athletic center up here, and I think we should keep that gym, we should keep that auditorium. We have a nice track, let's redo the parking lots, let's look at bringing up a football field, let's get some lights, let's get extra, whatever. You could have everything up here, we could have everything up here. That would be spectacular, I would love to do that for our kids. But unfortunately, it's the cost, you know? And
Have we ever seen, okay, again, with the middle school, I know that, I mean, the ADA compliance is very important. But aside from that, what is keeping us from saying we have a great middle school?
And again, how long, when you say down the road, along with what you say, how long until you think we need to do something down there? Because this was renovated in '93, it's 2003, that's 30 years. That was done 16 years ago, but is another 10 years feasible? It seems like it should be, before you had to really do something down there.
And if we do what we say and start committing ourselves to keeping things up as we go and not letting things get so far behind, can we keep our middle school in good repair and up to code, and consider the addition being put up here? And this is, I don't want to undo any good work that we've already done. I just want to make sure that we're thinking about that, because I truly hadn't considered what he said when he said that
It will
night.
be a cost, it will be a severe cost, because instead of having one cafeteria staff, now you have two. Instead of having one maintenance staff, you need to have people at both. Instead of me, you know, there's going to be a reduction of staff. We're not gonna need all these rooms up here, because there's a reduction of students. So as teachers retire,
But those would go away, and we would build a building that would accommodate our size and what we need, which would also be scaled down to less staff. I mean, I think that our staff currently is handling 2 buildings as it is. I don't know how much of a reduction we'd take when we go to 1 building, but there would be just as much mess with all those extra kids down there and all of the traffic and.
And the extra rooms that you're gonna put on. They're not
So it
gonna
would be-
themselves.
How many square feet added to that building, which people would still have to maintain and keep? And I'm just saying, if we have a good building down there and we want to keep, I mean, athletics, the athletic element in this community is something that our taxpayers come out and enjoy. It's the spirit of our community. If we are down a gym, I know that we're not in the business of creating athletes here, we're in the business of educating people, but these kids, some of them come to school because of the sports that they attend. I know of kids who graduated because they had to be here for baseball,
Or band.
or any of that.
Right.
Okay,
And extracurricular.
and if we're down a gym,
That's
we're down a
good.
gym. That's a bad thing for our community, and it's a bad thing for our school, and it.
And additionally, sorry Danielle, what I've been preaching for years and no one has ever listened is, which Penn's Manor does very well, by the way, is making, there hasn't been a public event, activity in any of our gyms since Sunday basketball. Remember we used to have Sunday basketball? Why doesn't the public get to use our gyms? And if we're down to 2, that's never gonna happen. If we stick with 3, then we can make one of them, like you said, 100% correct, a more community-oriented gym where we can have activities there, where the recreation, the borough recreation department can run activities there. They can run adult volleyball and adult basketball, and I know Cambria Heights has it. I know they do. They use the Carrollton gym all the time for adult basketball, adult volleyball. I mean, we do 0 with that, and I don't. And 2 gyms will eliminate the possibility. 3 would maybe allow us to get the community more
So
involved
Joe, when
with
this
that.
project was completed down here, Frank Karanish was then head football coach. He had 2 guys from some corporation, and I don't know if it was a vendor that did business with Northern, but they looked at that whole area down there and they said, you people are missing out on a lot of money. And Frank said, what do you mean? He says, you have a back gym now. He said, you have a swimming pool, you have a weight room facility right there, and then you have a second gym. You can be making so much money from the community.
Right.
They could fund.
Right, and I'm saying, if we down to 2 gyms, that all goes away. There's no chance of that. I don't think we've ever used our gyms for our public,
Have not.
you know.
And then there was the problem, remember, this just happened a couple years ago, when they weren't even allowing, like, the teams to use it. because
Exactly.
I don't even know where that came from.
Exactly.
It's like out of the clear blue sky, like, okay, we can't have elementary basketball because we can't have practices.
No,
What?
no. My kids got kicked out of the gyms when they were coaching
Yes.
because they
Yes.
said, you didn't get permission to use this gym. But
Thank you.
the other gym was in use, I had to conduct, no, didn't get permission,
You are
sorry, out
absolutely
you go.
correct.
Exactly,
Yeah, we
and that's
love it.
gonna be
Love it.
exacerbated immensely if we get down to 2 gyms.
And we are already, we are pressed for gym time as
Yes.
it is with
Exactly.
our
Yeah,
elementary
with our-
basketball, and it's,
Well, I mean, if you wanna make a decision based on gyms, then that's a decision you make.
I don't know that I'm
And-
saying,
And, you know, that's, if that's what's most important, then that's
no,
what we do.
it's not. I think it's the whole package, though. At the end of the day, if we
It's
are
what we
lacking something like that, then we haven't answered the mail. If we are lacking that component so grievously, then we haven't answered the mail and we've spent $25 million. That's my concern. Like,
I had many conversations with my brother when he was a super about this, when they were gonna do this 5 years ago. And I said, Bob, I have no problem with anything you're doing, but what about the gyms? He said, that's a huge problem, that's the unanswered question. We have to answer that question before we do this. He said, that is the single biggest issue here. I said, please don't do it until that question is answered. And it's still not answered. We're back to the same spot, we're ready to go. That question is still hanging out there.
And for the next meeting, could you have an answer for me? Because I don't know. I think we were going to discuss it at the one meeting and then it got overlooked. I don't know that I actually have an answer as to how our high school students are going to get from point A to point B to a gymnasium during the day without going through.
I've heard the answer, so I think it has been answered, so.
Okay,
you can go over that again.
please, can you have that answer for me next meeting? Thank you.
And also another, not to, and I know we've talked about this, but it can't be let go until it happens, but our football team practices up on that track. And if we don't have somewhere for them to change, where do they change their clothes? Where do they come and get ready to go to practice? I mean, that locker room downstairs is used when these guys come here to practice. They put their things in there, they change their clothes, they get their pads on, and they go up the hill. If we don't have a space for them, what,
How about the track athletes? Do they also change, or do they don't use?
I
Do
think
they change?
they all
I
use
don't
the
know.
locker
Everybody uses the
room.
locker room.
Okay, I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
everybody.
Because if we take that away, then the track is down a space for them to, have a locker room. And it's one less function that we have, and we're fortunate that we have the track that we have. But it's up here all by itself then. And if we can have everything we need and not have, I don't know, just do what we need to do so that we can have the space we need. And education is not secondary to me, but a school without sufficient space for gym and things like that that are important to the community and the kids, if we have, I don't know, I just feel like we need to know more about what we could do if we put the addition up here. And if it turns out that that's not what it works out to be, then okay, but I would like to know about that.
Hank, would you be able then to work up a new figure for us?
Sure, absolutely. Just as I'm sitting here listening, some of the things to remember and consider, the size of the addition that we're putting onto the middle school to move the high school down there is smaller than what you would need to do if you're talking about keeping a gym up here and putting an addition on for the classrooms, for multiple reasons, not the least of which is there are spaces in that middle school that we are using, like music spaces, band spaces, art room spaces, tech spaces. There are the administration area. There's lots of spaces in that building that we are currently using as part of high school space without putting a high school addition on. So when you put the addition on up here, if you're talking about tearing half the building down and putting an addition on to house all those things, the addition gets larger.
Yeah, why don't you?
So the number goes up. I can't tell you how much larger it gets or how much the number goes up right now, but I can.
We'd have to add a shop room, we'd have to add office space, we'd have to add all those things, right?
Right. So shooting from the hip, if we're putting 35,000 square feet of addition onto that middle school building to house those things, considering the other spaces we're currently using, that 35,000 might be 45 or 50,000. And there's a cost to that. And I can easily tell you what that cost is, but it's going to take me some time to figure out how big this addition up here would need to be to function properly. And I can do that, yes.
Okay, so you can have that for us then for the next meeting. So if we did not put the addition onto the middle school, and we did the addition rooms up here, but all the other things that we would need to do as well to keep the gym.
Right. So just so I understand what you're looking at doing, if you picture this high school building as being two separate wings, basically, you've got the wing up closer to the track, which has the gym and the auditorium and the cafeteria and the locker rooms.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about keeping that space, and then this lower half that has the classrooms and the office areas and all that type of stuff. You're talking about demolishing that and building an addition to house the things that a high school would need, correct?
Yes, unless, and I'm looking at option 1 from January 4th of 2022, and a portion of that statement, under statement of probable costs, is there's renovate existing elementary school, 170,567 square feet for a cost. And then the second portion of that is renovate the existing high school, 90,000 square feet for another cost. In this option, if we renovate the existing high school, and ignore the elementary middle school, would that get us what we need, because this figure is around $13.6 million to renovate the high school.
Not at $13.6 million to renovate a high school. At 90,000 square feet, in today's dollars, to renovate that building and bring it up to code and allow it to do the things that you need for curriculum and safety and not just ADA codes, but life safety codes and all those things. You're talking about shooting from the hip, and I can give you a hard number, but 90,000 square feet times $200 a square foot is $18 million. Bricks and mortar cost, then you add 20% to that. And that's the minimum that it would take to renovate that high school right now in the condition it's in to make it up to code.
This statement says 150 per square feet. That's where I'm working from.
Okay.
So that's where I was coming up with that, because then we have both.
And can we also consider, like, the library, the offices could stay, like, all we really need to do is the classroom section. Like, this is okay. Even the rooms underneath the office, which are the two language rooms, which could be converted to art rooms, which I always thought that'd be better as art rooms anyway. And then all you're doing is that. Like, this stays, the office stays, underneath stays, you have classrooms there that can be renovated, and then the new part is just from the end of that hallway where the expansion strip is, that way.
Well, because if this is a renovation situation, then we will have rooms that we don't need that could be repurposed, and then there's not actually new construction happening. If this renovate the existing high school portion of this statement is true.
It doesn't make any sense to put an addition on the high school. It already has more square footage than you need.
No, this says renovate.
It just needs to be renovated.
Right.
And to be clear and to be blunt, the only thing that's good in that high school are the walls and the foundation.
But okay, but I'm just going by the
redone in that high school.
I'm just going by the 13.6 million and wondering if this is not no longer a viable number, and if I'm not just misunderstanding what this is then.
Is that the old one, Daniel? Maybe that's the one from before.
No, this is from January of 22.
Oh, okay.
The cost has
that was
gone
the one
up.
from before.
Yes.
Okay.
That's saying that just to renovate the high school is 13.6 million.
Okay,
So you're saying consider just doing that and
Yep.
nothing else?
that's yes.
And I got a whole nother mind space.
Okay,
here.
just and
If
it's
you're
just
gonna do that, what about gutting this down to the bare walls and dividing it only with what you need? And only redoing what you need and leave the rest of it empty as storage, cold storage.
right. Only use what you need. If there's 5 or 6 rooms that have no use because of our population and because we have enough space, renovate only what's necessary, square footage per student, and do that.
Well, and I don't know that I don't think I'm looking at it the same way she is either. I'm looking at it as gut the whole thing. Then you're gonna have your structure
Yeah.
and then start from there.
But I'm
The
sure that a
interior.
gutting versus a renovation would be much more expensive.
But then you wouldn't be renovating the whole square footage.
Right.
either. So I don't know if that would be any better.
Oh, wait, so you're saying like, don't renovate 90,000, renovate
No.
50,000.
Whatever we need
Right.
and leave the rest, put a block wall up
Exactly.
between and you've
I
got
mean,
cold
I would,
storage.
yeah,
I
I'd
don't
like to
know.
see
I
this whole
don't
thing
know.
brand new, but I don't know, it's just an idea, and I think that's the point, we're in the idea phase.
I'm just like, when I'm hearing we can't work with just 2 gyms.
Well, and it's true, and it's not,
I'm also really leery that we can't work with one science lab. That's another story.
I mean, there's 100 ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
And
And we need to look at all of them before we delve into a project of this magnitude. Thank you.
I'm just more concerned because it keeps going up. the last figure I had, and I missed one meeting,
Well, and I
was
mean,
23, and now we're up to 25.
and we're gonna go there and we're gonna make all those changes, and then we're still not gonna have enough space to have a gym and the auditorium and a locker room.
And
If you-
that's the problem now, why we have to renovate. I mean, it was the problem before, it's the problem now, and we're just looking forward to another problem 10 years from now. Because, as you said, we're not answering or making a suggestion.
Thank you, Hank. We don't need you anymore. We'll deal with the
Thanks,
rest.
Hank.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, if we go to all that expense and it's an absolutely gorgeous facility, but we're short a piece of the puzzle, what have we done?
Well, and
And we have an empty facility up here
And-
that's,
and
How
I
often
look
is
at
the
it-
high, is the gym used at Northern Cambria, at Catholic? Rarely, correct?
Because of COVID, it had been closed down and we had some issues, but now it's open up and running
Correct.
every single night.
Every single night. Would the diocese be willing to rent it to us? And we could use it for
The
whatever we
gym
want?
there, the
Yes.
diocese doesn't own it, we do.
Would the school, would the
School
school
doesn't
or
own it,
church?
our church does.
Would the church be willing to rent that to us?
No, because we have, I don't know when you would get it, we are accepting rent from the Catholic school for their time, K through 8.
In the evenings?
Evening is
Evening.
basketball till 5:30, 7 to 9 is parishioners. There's no, I'm on
Yeah,
that board.
so, yeah, you'll have to, I guess we'll start back at square one, and figure
Yeah,
out.
there's
from there.
no-
I'll have Hank
There's
come with
no
more-
room to rent it because
Yeah.
that Catholic
Or
school
get rid of
uses
the
it
pool,
all day.
put another gym in there.
No.
oh, no, we can't get rid of them. I mean, that's,
Thank you, I only have to change